So I found out today that my niece was diagnosed with MS today. This makes the third person in my close family, in my immediate relationships. My grandmother had RRMS, I had PPMS, and she just got diagnosed, so it'll be another 6 months to a year before we find out what exactly she has. And of course, she's very scared, and she looks at me and my situation as the comparison of what to expect. And God, I hope that's not the case. My grandmother lived to be into her late 70s, and she was able to have a normal life. The last 5-10 years, started to go downhill, needing walkers and eventually a wheelchair and stuff. And she ended up dying of cancer, breast cancer, I believe, maybe lung cancer. But she still had a life, even though she was diagnosed with MS 15 years earlier. I mean, she got diagnosed really late in life. I want to say she was already in her 50s whenever she got diagnosed. So my niece, we have a very strained relationship. She's 27, gorgeous. Not to bring politics in here, but all my subscribers, especially the new ones I've been picking up with the MS series, you'll notice that I have another series called Uncanceled History. And I am a conservative, and my videos have a conservative lean. Obviously, I'm not trying to bring politics into this. This is strictly about health and well-being and mental states. That's what this series is about. So if politics upsets you, please do not go view my other videos. But she's a very political person as well. I'm very pro-gay rights. I was very proud of her whenever she got married. I didn't like the circumstances in which she got married, but that's neither here or there. But ever since, we've had a very tumultuous relationship when it comes to trying to talk about anything of substance revolving around politics or America or the way things are going. She's got her thoughts. I have my thoughts. I have my facts, and she has her stories. I love her so much, and she is so scared. Much more scared than I was. There was a post today in one of the groups I was in where someone made a comment about those people in the groups who were not diagnosed yet, but very laser focused into trying to get that diagnosis. And the way it was stated wasn't great. I ended up trying to clear it up a little bit and kind of smooth it over, but because what she was saying was accurate, and she made it sound as if people were looking to or wanting to have MS, like they wanted it to be MS, not something else. And that's a lot of it has to do with things like WebMD. We all decide we're going to become our own doctors because someone's not picking up the phone, or we're not getting our phone calls fast enough for our anxiety to stay low. So we start looking things up and putting in our symptoms and stuff, and things start pointing in one direction. So you start looking for anything you can to validate it. So people join these groups and looking for those same answers. And the problem with that is much like with me and having a broken back, I assumed every problem I had was that because my symptoms said that it was nerve related. I had nerve damage, broken back. That's my problem. I wasted 4 years looking for the wrong thing. And so that was the point of this post, was don't waste time. Get to a doctor. Get an actual diagnosis. Don't try to diagnose yourself. And my niece has been doing this for the last couple of months. And she kind of made a comment that I just let slide. But she said, no one knows what it's like to wake up every morning not knowing how your life is going to change. And more than likely, if you're watching this video, you do know. You don't know what your progression is going to be. If you relapsed, if you have a relapsing form of MS, or for me, am I going to be able to pivot on my foot this day to get to the toilet? Am I going to be able to get myself out of a chair, or am I now bedridden? When does that day come? So we talked for a little bit. She got sidetracked, or someone called through and she had to go. So we never finished the conversation. But I calmly told her everything that I went through. Obviously not everything that I went through, but I went through enough of it. I told her what doctors she needed to see now that she has the diagnosis. I told her what tests that she needed to go get ran. She needs, based on her symptoms, that she needed to go see someone and get tested for neuropathy in both her hands and feet. I have it in all four of my hands and feet. To go get a muscle test done where they stick needles in you and give it a little shock and see how you're... I think what they're doing is testing the time it takes for your muscle to react to the shock. The longer it takes, the more atrophied or useless becoming your muscle is. So I got that done, which was 42 needles with little blood specks everywhere. Told her that. I told her what medications I was on. I said, okay. So the problem with her was that she found out her diagnosis without talking to the doctor. The doctor has yet to make a follow-up appointment with her, but posted her results of her spinal tap on her medical portal. So she got this with no clarification. I said, okay, well, if that's the case, now you know. You need to call the doctor. I believe the first medication people are put on, at least I was Copaxone or Glatramir. There's different versions of it. But it's an injection you take a couple times a day, or a couple times a week. And it's really for RRMS to keep your relapses from coming sooner, to slow it down, and also to not have new lesions or new symptoms pop up. That was my understanding of it. Turned out that was a useless shot that I gave myself for about a year because I didn't have RRMS, I had PPMS, so there was nothing to slow down. I told her about dalfampridine. It has another name. Dalfampridine is actually the generic. I don't remember what the original name is. But if you're having walking problems, this medication is, I refer to it as like a lubricant for your brain to your myelin. It's like a Wi-Fi booster. It increases the signal to your leg muscles. That did work for me for a while, even with the PPMS. And then, the neuropathy in both hands and my feet, that's, I ended up getting drop foot in my left foot. I've got carpal tunnel in both wrists, just because I spent a lot of my life on computers. So, but this is someone very close to me who knows me a lot better than a lot of people actually do, despite our weird relationship. And she's near the point of tears. She's been in tears before with me, but at this moment, she finally, it sounded like she turned on the microphone and turned down the volume and let me talk. And she was writing stuff down and things she needed to do. Everything I'm talking about, I don't expect everyone to do. But this is how I explain my situation to somebody. So, relationships, period, is a tricky thing. Especially if you've had MS for a while, but you just recently got diagnosed, you went through a period of time of not knowing what the hell's wrong with you, and nor how to explain it properly to someone else, that you're having incontinence issues, or you're having bathroom problems, kind of like IBS. I went through about 1.5 years of severe IBS. I never became incontinent, but I was really close. Just sudden urges that just hit me hard, and I had to go to the bathroom. Trying to explain that to somebody, and you can't say, oh, I have XYZ disease. when you're talking about your feelings, you're talking about your fatigue, whatever, you're looked at like you're lazy, or you're looked at like you're not caring, you're not enthusiastic. There's 1,000 different descriptors someone can throw at you because of how you react to something they want you to react a different way to. And it's not fair, but it's humanity. If you weren't you with MS, you would more likely think the same thing of someone else. I know I'm guilty of it. I had an employee one time with fibromyalgia, and I know that's just kind of a catch-all when a doctor doesn't know what's wrong with you. But I didn't really give her the due care, the due sensitivity that she had something going on, because she couldn't pinpoint what it was. Therefore, I couldn't understand what it was. So it makes it really difficult. When you have something like MS, you can do all the reading you want, and you can have all the problems that you have. And sometimes they're a little difficult to talk about. I'm surprised. It's my third video now doing this, and I came close on the last video, but I haven't cried. That's one of the things I kind of wonder if I was going to cry trying to talk about some of this stuff, because if I talk to somebody like my mom or my dad, my sister, my son, I can get choked up really easy getting into the details about how I feel. Maybe this camera is just it's like talking to a mirror, trying to prep for a conversation that's never going to happen. You're just going to have to listen to it one-sided. So, I've gone through a lot of depression, very dark places. I'm proud to say that for the most part, I'm out of it. I've got my moments. I won't lie and say that I'm the peachiest person you've ever met. I have a lot of bitterness towards different things, but there's a level of acceptance that I've made that I can't argue with. I mean, it's just, the sky is blue. I can't change that. The grass is green. Water is wet. I have MS. You can't get around it. So the only thing you can do is figure out how to make the best of it. There was someone in one of the groups who I've been talking to. I don't want to name him by name because he didn't tell me I could. But had posted a question about whether or not he should get into a relationship with a lover, a partner, whatever, just to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the situation may be, because of the baggage that he would have to lay on this person, and is that fair to that person to expect them to fall in love with you and the baggage that you're showing? So I used to say this to my mom. I have other medical issues besides MS. Some very bad ones. Not only do I have MS, not only do I have the worst form of MS, PPMS, I also used to suffer really bad from gout. With the rapid changes in my life, I got diagnosed as bipolar. And the worst one of all that I'm admitting here on this video, that I have not really admitted to the world, only my closest family and friends know this, but I'm HIV positive. I didn't get it from needles. I know exactly who I got it from. She didn't know that she was active. She had been a prior heroin user about 5 years before I met her. She had been clean the whole time, but she didn't know. I didn't know. Things happen. So I went through the same thing this guy was thinking of. Like, how do I start to have a conversation with someone for the first time to say, "Hi, Mrs. X. My name's Thunderduck, and I'm going to buy you dinner tonight. And by the way, I've got HIV, and I'm going to be in a wheelchair in a few years. But hopefully you'll fall in love with me." It sounds really sarcastic and really shitty, but that's what it is. That's how you feel about, like, how could you do this to somebody? Why would somebody want to love you in return? How could somebody be expected to meet you today, off your dating app of choice, POF, Tinder, whatever, and go out on your first date, take him out to dinner, and explain, say, hey, if you want a future with me, these are the things that are coming with it. And before I skip over this, my HIV is completely under control. I'm undetectable. I found out I had it after my back surgery. They do a blood test prior to surgery, and they informed me I had it after my surgery. I guess they wanted to make sure that they got their money so I didn't off myself or something in the meantime. But anyway, I found out 2 weeks after my surgery. And so if you don't know anything about HIV, once you are undetectable, as long as you maintain that with your medicines, you are non-contagious. You're not able to spread it. You can have children with it. You can have unprotected sex. However, at the time that I found this out, I was dating someone. I just started dating someone when I was going in for my back surgery. We were together for about 2 months. And she presented herself very lovely, and we had a great time. Good start to the relationship. I was living in Waco, and my son was down in San Antonio. So it was during that 2-year period where I was away. And she didn't show any signs of being a bad option. She had been with the same job for 20 years and owned her house and had a son who just graduated. He was I think 5th in his class. Anyway, so we were together. We had a sexually active beginning, and then we had my surgery. When I found out, she had to get tested. She was clean, and she wasn't going to leave me. I was so scared at that point that she was going to leave me. But she didn't, and we ended up getting married a few months later. Altogether, we were together 6 months. We got married. And I rushed into it out of this fear that I found someone who's not going to run away. I had this horrible disease, and they're not going to run away from me. This is my chance, my opportunity. I'll never have to talk about this again to another female because I'll be married. And so I rushed into it, and I got married, and it was the worst decision of my life. It was probably the worst decision of her life, too. She ended up quitting her job, moving to San Antonio with me, selling her house, only to get down there and just become a living nightmare to my son. My son at the time was 10, and she hated the fact that I had a younger son. Her son was older. She was done with it, done with raising kids, and didn't understand that was part of the package, because when I lived up there, I got him every other weekend. I'd drive down to Austin and meet and pick him up. So now that it was full time, or close to it, 3 or 4 days out of the week, she was growing tired of it. He was growing tired of her. She was becoming emotionally abusive, and I'm starting to fall apart. I don't know that I have MS yet, but I'm already on a cane. I'm starting to go downhill. And for the betterment of my son, I kicked her out, divorced her. And she moved out. Everything was fine. I lived by myself for a few months, and then realized I really did need somebody there. I had my nephew come stay with me for about 9 months. He had his own problems that I was helping him with. And then once he left, I knew I couldn't stay by myself, especially in the house I was in. I had too many stairs. So I had to give up the house that I was buying and move into an apartment. And from that point on, I got married in 2015 and divorced at the end of 2017. So since 2017, I didn't want to bother anyone with my burdens, with the conversations that would have to be made, and tell someone about my medical chart and watch their eyes bulge and their mouths drop. And that's what this guy was getting at in his post. He didn't know if that was fair to do to somebody. Looking back at it, it absolutely is fair. Because you're being honest. Not in spite of it. You've got to be honest with people when you're trying to get into any sort of long-term relationship. You might be on there just trying to get your kicks. God bless you if that's what you're doing. And that, in that case, you don't need to tell everybody everything. But if you're trying to be serious with somebody and you're trying to have a true relationship that's going to go somewhere and you want them to be with you in your worst of times and the best of times, and you want that level of commitment from somebody, it starts on that first date. And it's scary. It sucks. I did start doing it. I did it too late. I did to the point where I was already getting to the point where I couldn't drive and I was almost in a wheelchair. And it's not that it's not too late. There is a girl, and you're watching right now, Crystal. Love you to death. She lives in Australia, and we became great friends singing together on an app. And she's saving up money to come out here and see me. She knows me. She knows my history. She knows everything else. But this was a 3-year-long friendship I've had with her that was on the idea I would never actually see her. It was easy to tell her everything. So it's a little bit different, though. If you are able to walk around and you are able to enjoy your life, you're able to leave your house, you're able to be good company for somebody, you're able to have conversations and love somebody and hold somebody and enjoy each other, there's absolutely no reason to be alone and to deny yourself that. Now, every person you go to date, are they going to be up for all that fun you're going to lay on them? No. Rejection is going to be a part of that. It just is. Not everyone is ready for their golden years to happen when they're in their 30s and 40s. Taking care of each other. So it's not a guarantee you'll ever find anybody. But enjoy those dinners. Enjoy going out to the movies. Enjoy the lovemaking that you might find. Find the joy in what you can, while you can. And that's the biggest takeaway from this video. Is there are very few things I regret in this life. One is not getting checked out for something other than my back a long time ago, just assuming everything was around my back. Maybe I'd be better off medicated a long time ago, slowed down the progression, etc. But my other thing too was wasting time being afraid. You can be anxious and scared of something you think might happen, right? MS, if you have it, you have it, you know what's coming. Anxiety really shouldn't be the issue anymore. Getting rid of denial is an issue, and getting to the level of acceptance, of knowing what lies ahead. Those are your hurdles, not anxiety. There's no reason to be anxious because you know what's coming. It's kind of like, all right, if I were to tell you, or God were to come down and tell you, you have 3 more years left to live. Well, then no matter what you do for the next 3 years, you're going to survive. So where's the risk, right? So if you know that at some point down the road, you're going to be on a cane, you're not going to be able to go swimming, you're not going to be able to drive, you're not going to be able to go shopping. What is your anxiety helping you with about not doing that stuff now? Good and bad. Chore running, everything else. Fatigue is going to play in. Yes, that's an MS staple, is fatigue. Someone asked me, or someone asked in another post, what do you do to minimize fatigue? For me, it's the temperature. I try to keep my house between 67 and 70. The cooler it is, the more I seem to be functioning. Now, if I drop below 65, I get really rigid and it's hard to move. But there's a sweet spot I found that I tend to be okay. And if I start getting too warm, my hands will tell me. They start to tingle. They start to feel really warm. But everyone watching this, everyone who you're going to share it to, everyone who needs to hear this, everyone who already knows this, we all have one life. And if you're watching this video, more than likely, you have MS. You know what's happening. You know what's happening to your body. You know the pain of it. You know the suffering of it. You know the fatigue, the heartbreak, the almost like grief that you have. Like, I was trying to write instead of doing this video, I started this by trying to do an autobiography that was effectively a eulogy to the life that I lost. The life, who I was is dead, as far as the physical. The physical life was dead. I was no longer able to go to the bars and go do karaoke. I can no longer go to the beach and go for a swim or fish. Couldn't go shooting guns. Can't go to the movies. Can't do anything. There's just this whole part of my life that has completely been evaporated. And it happened across a 1.5 year period, maybe 2 years. So I look back on my life as these videos will go on. I'll start telling you more about it. And I lived a great life. I don't look back at my life with a lot of regrets. I did some stupid stuff. Got into a little bit of trouble. Never got arrested or anything. There's plenty of things I should be in jail now for. I'll tell you that. But I'm thankful. As bad off as I am, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the opportunities I've had in my life. I'm thankful for my father and this house that I have, that I get to grow old in, I hope. And I get to wheel around. Got a beautiful view outside. I got spending money. Got all this equipment that I bought with my Biden dollars. So that's why I call the last stimulus check is my Biden dollars. So I was able to get a computer, some lights, a camera, and get this stuff going. If you're out there wondering, what can you do? Can you be Romeo? Can you be Casanova? Probably not. Can you be Juliet? Sorry, don't want to leave the girls out. Maybe that's not the role you play. But you can be someone's shoulder. You can be someone's lover. You can be someone's companion. You can be somebody's friend. Whatever it is, find it. Hold on to it. Don't lose it. Don't end up in the middle of nowhere with no one around you. If all you do is test the waters, not every fisherman gets a bite, but everyone loves to fish. You guys have a good night, and I will talk to you another time.